Chapter 121, You have to move away. Mo Hiling saw that Lin Che was with Gu Jingze, but she ignored Lin Che and grabbed Gu Jingze's arm. She whined, Jingze, why didn't you come over yesterday? I'm only a few steps away, so you can come over regularly. Gu Jingze glanced at Lin Che and silently pushed Mo Hiling's hand. But Mo Hiling refused to let go of him. She saw Lin Che turn to look away and her expression became victorious. Lin Che rolled her eyes, you guys go ahead then. I'll take another car. Lin Che, Gu Jingze called after her, but Lin Che already walked to the other side and was not turning back. Mo Hiling pulled Gu Jingze over, it's okay, Jingze. Just leave her be, there are plenty of cars anyway. Gu Jingze stopped and looked at Mo Hiling. She was always messing things up by staying here. This could not go on. He decided that he should solve this problem first. Thus, he nodded and said, get in the car. I need to talk to you. Mo Hiling watched Gu Jingze head to the car and gleefully tagged along. Soon, they were both in the car. Mo Hiling was practically snuggling up to Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze looked at her and then moved away. He told her, Hiling, I've told you many times that I'm already married. My relationship with you cannot be the same as before. Mo Hiling pouted and looked at Gu Jingze, but you don't love your wife. You love me. Hiling, she is my wife. How can you talk about her like that? You, Jingze, you never treated me this way before. You never talked to me this way before. Mo Hiling looked at him pitifully. Gu Jingze looked at Mo Hiling seriously, you were never so unreasonable before either. Mo Hiling looked away. She knew Gu Jingze was being serious, so she quickly shut her mouth. She bit her lips as she sat there looking at Gu Jingze and thought about what she should do. She was never like this. And there was never a Lin Che before either. The Gu Jingze last time never talked to other women. Even though he got busy with work, sometimes not even meeting her for a week, she never felt that it was wrong of him to be so cooped up with work. A man should be like that as long as he set aside some time outside of work for her. Then, it was all right. But now, Lin Che and Gu Jingze were living together and facing each other day and night. Mo Hiling then realized that Gu Jingze actually had a lot of time. Otherwise, how could he be with Lin Che every day? In the past, she was too accommodating to Gu Jingze, so she never bothered him. But this Lin Che was simply a sly fox, a disgusting slut. She must have stuck to Gu Jingze daily, so they were always together. Thus, Mo Hiling also wanted to cling to Gu Jingze. Jingze, I'm like this because I'm afraid of losing you. Hiling, why can't you wake up? We are no longer in a relationship anymore. You are just a friend that I care about. You can't cling on to me like this. Mo Hiling looked up in shock, but I also said before that I will wait for you. I will wait for you to divorce her so we can start going out again. I can't force you to not wait for me, but I said what I needed to say. If you choose to still do this to yourself, I won't say anything else. I can only say, he looked at Mo Hiling, I won't betray my marriage, so I can't be so close to you. Hiling, move out, don't be like this anymore. Tears flowed down her cheeks as she looked at Gu Jingze, no, I'm not moving. Jingze, you can't force me to move. You can't force me to not wait for you either. This is my place, why should I move? Can't I buy this place with my own money? It's a nice environment here and the location is good too. I spent a few million to buy this house. Why can't I stay in it? Gu Jingze looked at her indifferently, if you insist on being this way, so be it. Mo Hiling sat there dignified. Her heart decided that she was not going to move away even if she died. She wanted to hang around here and see Gu Jingze. Otherwise, even if she knew that nothing would happen between Gu Jingze and Lin Che, that slut might have some devious plan to hook Gu Jingze. They reached the company and parted ways. Gu Jingze watched Mo Hiling leave and then said to his assistant beside him, what is the situation at Hiling's villa? Do you know? Yes, sir. I don't think she'll move on her own accord. Come up with something to make her move. Yes. Gu Jingze did not want to make it so clear to Mo Hiling either. Mo Hiling was fragile and he wanted to give her some face. Otherwise, the girl who never suffered before might not be able to take it. However, Mo Hilling kept pretending that she did not understand his words, leaving him no choice but to spell it out for her. He did not expect Mo Hilling to be so stubborn and still refuse to move. Gu Jingze reached his office and thought for a while. Then, he called Lin Che on the phone. Lin Che picked it up quickly. Lin Che had also just reached her company, but her voice did not sound right. How come you got there so fast? I thought you wanted to go take a walk with Miss Mo. Lin Che, she'll move out soon. I won't let her disturb us all the time. Lin Che paused and then asked, why is she moving? Isn't it good that she's close? Gu Jingze asked, you really think that it's good? Of course. Isn't it more convenient for both of you? Lin Che said while blowing at her nails. Gu Jingze took a deep breath, but it would inconvenience us. What? Lin Che thought that she heard him wrong. But Gu Jingze continued, I won't betray our marriage, so I won't continue that same kind of relationship with her in the past. She'll move out soon. After he spoke, he hung up. Lin Che was stunned and could not quite process what he said. She stood still while holding the phone and heaved a sigh of relief. She knocked her own head. Don't misunderstand him, Lin Che. He only meant that he would not betray the marriage. He's an upright man and just doesn't want to be someone who had an affair. There was no other meaning to it. Lin Che quickly walked in and Yu Minmin was walking towards her. She said, just in time. The cruise car is already here. You're taking part in the reality show today. Have you prepared? Lin Che smiled at Yu Minmin, I'm all prepared. Yu Minmin replied, don't exaggerate too much. Just be yourself. Oh right, who are the guests this week? Lin Che recalled Gu Jingz's words the other day. Yu Minmin said, I think it's an old friend of yours. The other party said that they know you. Huh, really, who is it? I don't know many people. You should know once you're there. The program didn't inform us. They only said that the theme was new female roles. Chapter 122. She was not in a good mood. Lin Che got in the car and soon arrived at the film set. The director saw Lin Che and went to greet her personally. He was extremely polite to Lin Che and Yu Minmin. Yu Minmin went to settle the work while Lin Che went through the script with the director. They were discussing the activity for the day when someone called out from behind, Lin Che, I didn't think we would meet again so soon. Lin Che turned around and saw that the person approaching was her competitor for the Best Newcomer Award, Wang Qingqiu. Lin Che laughed dryly and watched her approach. There were 5 or 6 assistants behind her, making her look formidable. I told director that I have an old friend here and we must make a cameo together. We can't let those old reality TV foxes take our screen time. It turned out that she was the old friend. Lin Che laughed with displeasure. No way, I think friendship is strong on this show. Everyone is here to have fun, not to steal screen time and whatnot. Wang Qingqiu looked at her, revealing an unnatural smile. It was not easy to get into such a popular show. How could anyone just be here for fun? She was already prepared and fired up. This time, she had to stand out from everyone else. Seeing Lin Che acting all innocent, Wang Qingqiu, who originally wanted to collaborate with her, decided that it was better not to. Fortunately, she was not the only one here. At this moment, another actress arrived. Director, I'm here. Sorry, there was heavy traffic on the road. I'm not late, right? The voice made a few heads turn. It was another new female actress called Qin Wanwan. She rose to fame from a show about the modern workplace and previously played many supporting roles, so Lin Che recognized her. However, this was the first time they met. They shook hands and greeted each other. Lin Che, I've watched your drama, it's so good that I keep chasing it. I can say the same about you. You're so popular. The two of them exchanged courteous words. Wang Qingqiu quickly interrupted them and greeted her, saying the same things that Lin Che did. She also wanted Qin Wanwan to be on her side, but Qin Wanwan only smiled awkwardly and turned back to talk to Lin Che. I'm so nervous, this is my first time. It's my first time as well, Lin Che replied. She said, but just be yourself. Even if you don't stand out in your first time, you can just take it as an experience. Yes. After a while, the filming was starting. The whole crew was ready. The 3 new actresses were all unique. This reality show began with a game and the setting for the game was interesting and challenging. Lin Che actually didn't know how to go about it and she did not know what to say. She could not seem to keep up with the show, but Qin Wanwan seemed to be doing well, despite claiming that she was nervous. She got along well with some of the main cast and found the laughing points. She seemed to be the one grabbing attention and Lin Che seemed much duller in comparison. When Qin Wanwan completed her tasks and had nothing else to do, she would come and help Lin Che. For that, Lin Che was very grateful to her. Wang Qingchu, on the other hand, was extremely detestable. She exclaimed at one point and then messed something up at another point. She could not do things right and kept sticking to one of the most famous actors. Everyone was speechless from watching her. She grabbed a lot of attention but it annoyed everybody there. During the break, Lin Che sat in the car with the big brother of the show. Driving at the front, he looked and smiled at her. "You look like you haven't slept enough yet. Your eye bags are showing." Lin Che said quietly, "Knowing that I was joining a reality show scared me and I couldn't sleep the entire night. If I get eliminated early on, my agent is going to kill me. It was expensive to get in this." "Ha ha ha, okay, we'll protect you and definitely not let you be eliminated so soon." "Really, thank you so much. If I win, I will give all of this week's profits to you." "Haha, I'll hold you up to it." "Really, I mean it." Lin Che did not have any big expression on her face. She could only follow at the back, lightly brushing herself. She did not care so much afterward, she could not be bothered to tidy herself again. She sat there in a daze, not even knowing if her makeup had worn off. Qin Wanwan saw that Lin Che was sitting alone and especially went to comfort her. "Why don't you go over? Why are you sitting here?" Lin Che replied, "I don't know what to say. You guys look like you're playing well." "Oh, your acting is not bad, you just don't know how to find opportunities for yourself." Lin Che said bashfully, "Yes, I don't know how to do such things." Qin Wanwan said, "Look, Wang Qingchu is trying so hard." Lin Che watched Wang Qingchu who was still mingling and trying to find a place for herself. "This is also a matter of talent. I don't think I'm talented in this aspect. I can only rely on acting properly." Qin Wanwan could only look at her comfortingly. "All right, you pitiful doll." They were shooting for 2 consecutive days. Lin Che finished filming for 1 day, boarded the plane, and headed to the next location with everybody. On the plane, Yu Minmin followed behind. A few guests were seated in first class while the rest sat in economy. Yu Minmin came over to pass some water to Lin Che. Looking at her defeated expression, Yu Minmin quietly said, "Don't worry too much." Lin Che leaned on the seat and talked to Yu Minmin. The two of them have unique positive points. Ultimately, I'm going to be the least bright one. Yu Minmin said, "Let's compare your works. Reality shows are just the cherry on top, so it won't affect you that greatly." Lin Che heard Yu Minmin say this and could only reply apologetically, "I just feel ashamed since you guys gave me such a good program." Yu Minmin said, "There's no need for that. Don't worry, there'll be plenty more of such programs. As long as you're popular, everybody will vie for you to take part. Also, your performance is not that bad." "Okay. Alright, keep sulking like that and your face is going to swell up like a loaf of bread tomorrow. Go to sleep and don't drink too much water. You still need to film in the morning." That was easier said than done. Lin Che went back, still in a bad mood. Thus, she drank quite a bit in the hotel. At night, Gu Jingze called Lin Che and asked, "How many days are you filming?" Lin Che picked up the call. She was not in a good mood. "I still have 1 day tomorrow and then it depends on how the filming goes. If it's not good, we'll probably need another day." Gu Jingze could hear that something was not right. "What's wrong? Are you unhappy?" Lin Che sighed, thinking there was no big deal in telling Gu Jingze all these things. "Yes, I feel like I'm not performing well. You're always saying that I'm stupid. Tell me, am I really that stupid? Is that why I can't grab any screen time?" Gu Jingze heard and laughed. He then said, "That is true, you are really very stupid." Hey! Who comforted others the way he did? Chapter 123. The long chat ended up being relaxing. Alright, there's nothing wrong with being stupid. Just be yourself, you don't need to compare with others. Don't compare your shortcomings with advantages that others may have. You're an actor, but you don't want to be a comedian, right? You want to stand on top of the acting world, so just compare your acting skills to theirs. Why do you want to compare who is funnier? That made sense. Lin Che said, I just think that they're all great. Gu Jingze replied, you're great too in other aspects. Really? Lin Che still assumed that she was useless in Gu Jingze's eyes. Gu Jingze said, yes. You must trust my eyes. If I let you be my wife, it means that you have your good points. Or was he praising himself? Hey, can a man like you not be so narcissistic? It's natural. You must love yourself. Otherwise, how can you hope others will see you? Go away. Tell me, do I have good points or not? Do you really want me to say it or are you forcing me to lie? Fine, then I'm hanging up. Hey, don't hang up. Let me think, Gu Jingze said. You're really good at kissing. Lin Che really was becoming angry and she wanted to hang up. Gu Jingze. Fine, don't yell. Even though you are a little silly, a little stupid, a little uncultured. I want you to praise me, not insult me. Lin Che was intolerant. How could this man be like this? You're a little ill-mannered, but the good thing is you have a pretty good figure and you're nice to touch. Lin Che's face flushed. Gu Jingze, you gangster. Are you calling me a wallflower? Gu Jingze replied, being a wallflower has its benefits. Some people can't be wallflowers even if they wanted to. Okay, so you're still calling me a wallflower. Gu Jingze was silent. He was praising her beauty. But this fool only wanted to pick at his words. Forget it. The two of them continued talking like that. Unknowingly, they ended up chatting for so long. Gu Jingze looked at the time and then said to Lin Che, you need to be up early tomorrow. It's already past midnight, quick go to sleep. Ah, it's past midnight already. This is all your fault for arguing with me for nothing. Lin Che spoke and quickly wanted to hang up. Hey, don't hang up, Gu Jingze kept trying to stop Lin Che. Lin Che paused, what? You're coming back the day after tomorrow. That's the latest, right? He asked. Lin Che replied, yes. Okay, don't delay it. His voice was low when it transmitted through the invisible phone line. It made Lin Che's heart feel a little soft. Don't tell me that you miss me already. Lin Che laid on the bed while chuckling. However, on the phone, Gu Jingze replied plainly, yes. What? Lin Che immediately sat back up, but Gu Jingze had already hung up. Yes. Holding the phone, Lin Che's heart began to feel an uncontrollable sweetness. Her mind went wild. Perhaps because of talking about all kinds of things with Gu Jingze on the long phone call, Lin Che's nervousness disappeared. She leaned there and felt much more relaxed. Her mind was filled with Gu Jingze's silhouette and she forgot about everything else. Lin Che did not expect to have a phone conversation with Gu Jingze for that long. They could have talked about anything under the sky. But it was also because she was thick-skinned. There were many things she did not understand, but she still asked him many questions. He was indeed patient with her and explained everything to her. However, she thought, Gu Jingze was very knowledgeable. It was like they never ran out of things to talk about. Soon, Lin Che fell asleep. The next day, she did not expect someone to barge into her room so early. Luckily, Yu Minmin had reminded her to wear nicer clothes to sleep. This was to prevent being secretly filmed by anyone and to prevent anything from happening. When Lin Che woke up, she was a complete mess from head to toe. Without any makeup, her eye bags looked bad, and because she was up late talking to Gu Jingze and drank too much water, her face was swollen. When she saw the camera, she panicked. Everybody laughed as they filmed her while she was in her drowsy, just woken state. She could only speechlessly rub her eyes and say to everybody, just you guys wait. I'm an idol. How am I going to hustle in the future if you guys film me like this? You guys will have to pay if I lose my fans. Everyone roared with laughter. Lin Che thought the worst side of her was already exposed, so she might as well not care anymore. When she went out, she did not put any makeup and yawned as everyone stood there in a row. She scratched her head silently. Qin Wanwan and Wang Qingchu seemed to have received the same treatment, but Wang Qingchu was still radiant. She vainly told people, "Why didn't you tell me you were coming? I had no makeup on." Qin Wanwan snorted and whispered to Lin Che, "What rubbish. The agent already told her a long time ago. No makeup, more like natural makeup, and she even put on some circle lenses." "No way, the agents knew." "Of course, didn't your agent tell you? I specifically wore my good pajamas." "She didn't tell me crap. Lin Che wanted to kill Yu Minmin. Did Yu Minmin think that her performance was so bad that not even this could save her? At least she could have given her a chance to gain back her image." Lin Che finally found Yu Minmin and said, "I'm going to kill you, Yu Minmin. Why didn't you tell me that the crew would come in the morning?" Yu Minmin looked at her unkempt appearance and snickered, "There's no point in telling you since you can't act. Might as well be natural. See, you don't look so bad like this." Lin Che was speechless. But after thinking about it, she indeed did not have the same mentality as Wang Qingchu and could pretend as if she did not know anything. "Seriously, you could have at least given me appropriate hints. Didn't I tell you to dress nicely and not expose yourself? It's not like you have the habit of sleeping nude." Lin Che said, "Then weren't you afraid that I might have brought some guy into my room? Wouldn't I have gotten exposed?" "That's impossible," Yu Minmin rubbed her chin. "But I can't be certain. If Gu Jingze came and was filmed with you, that would be a big hit for sure." Lin Che glared hatefully at this unreliable agent. However, whatever happened had already happened. She could only move forward. When she went out, everyone was still smiling at Lin Che. "You're too exhilarating. You're not wearing any makeup." My pleasure, my pleasure. Why would you go to sleep with makeup on unless you have a date with a ghost?" Lin Che waved her hand as she spoke. Chapter 124. Did not expect it to turn out so well. Fortunately, the filming that day went smoothly and it seemed like they did not have to stay another day. When the filming ended, they boarded the plane back. Qin Wanwan happily pulled Lin Che along and asked her to celebrate together with the rest of them over a meal if she had nothing to do that night. Together with the director and his crew, the group of 7 or 8 people headed to a club to eat and sing. It was Lin Che's first time here with them. Qin Wanwan was very social and could talk to anybody. She did not put on airs at all. Lin Che sat at the side and was watching when Qin Wanwan came over to her. "It's your first time here. There are a lot of people here from the industry too." Lin Che replied, "I'm just a newcomer, so I don't know many people in the industry." Qin Wanwan said, "You will eventually. It's never bad to know more people in this industry." Yes, Lin Che did not warm up to people quickly. She was not used to taking the initiative to interact with others, but once she got familiar, she was actually a very talkative person too. Qin Wanwan said, "All right. I'll be your big sister and take you along. Come, let's go get something to eat." Lin Che smiled and looked at Qin Wanwan. She admired her ability to get comfortable with others quickly. Qin Wanwan said, "But your relationship with Gu Jingze is not bad." Lin Che said quietly, "It's not exactly good either. I haven't contacted him in ages." "Really? He's my idol, heh. But I may soon be able to act with him in a show." "Really? That's not bad. He's really good at acting," Lin Che remarked. Qin Wanwan smiled cheekily and looked at Lin Che. "Then, the rumor between you two." "It's definitely fake," Lin Che hurriedly said. "As you just said, it's only a rumor." Fine. As they talked, Lin Che realized her phone was ringing. She took it out to see that it was Gu Jingze. Qin Wanwan's eyes were sharp. She immediately saw the obvious, "Dearest hubby," words displayed and smiled. "Oh, we have a situation." Lin Che blushed. Qin Wanwan saw and laughed as she patted her shoulder. "Okay, so what if you have a boyfriend? You're old enough and nobody is gonna stop you. I won't tell anyone, relax." Lin Che said, "It's not what you think either. Anyway, I need to take this call." Lin Che quickly picked up the phone. When it got through, she heard Gu Jingze asking, "When are you coming back?" Lin Che's lips curled up uncontrollably. "I'll be back soon." "Okay, I'll go pick you up." Gu Jingze was actually a very tolerant person. He thought it was a good thing for Lin Che to have some fun outside. A person needed to interact outside and have their personal space sometimes. That was a healthy thing to do. Thus, when Lin Che saw Gu Jingze, she quickly got into the car and said, "I was just here to take a look, there's nothing much. Everyone here is from the crew and some of the cast." Gu Jingze said, "It's not good for you to stay at home all the time. You should make more friends. Otherwise, a dumb person like you won't have many friends to rely on. It'll be hard to get by." "Hey, do you have to call me dumb all the time?" "Good girl, this is your special feature. I don't want to bring it up every day either, but I get reminded of it every time I see you. What else can I do?" As he spoke, he reached out and patted her head. Lin Che wanted to move away. She really did know what he was trying to do. She was not a kid anymore. Why did he pat her head? He returned home with Lin Che, who quickly removed her makeup, showered, looked at things, and chatted with the maids. Gu Jingze sat on the sofa, not thinking that it was the least bit noisy. Instead, he looked at the whole room. Although there was just one more person, it was as if the empty room was suddenly filled. This Lin Che was really lively. After that, Lin Che's reality show hadn't aired yet, but the sneak preview was soon ready. In the preview, they included the part where they walked into Lin Che's room. Lin Che was already feeling embarrassed at that point in time, but seeing it on screen now, she thought she was so ugly. However, she spent the day going through the comments online and found that her fanbase grew. The fans were commenting, "I still like Lin Che. She's so real and genuine. Exactly. That Wang Qingchu is too fake. I can tell immediately that she's acting. She's so slutty like a mistress." "I don't think this scene looks bad at all." Lin Che looked quite good. "She's completely barefaced, but her skin is still so good. Her eyes are still so big and she's still so fair. Lin Che is so cute." Lin Che was stunned. She was in disbelief that that scene would receive only good comments. In the afternoon, she watched the preview with Yu Minmin at the company. Yu Minmin said, "This is only the beginning. Wait until the show is out and then you'll know the results." Yu Minmin looked at Lin Che, "And you have good complexion in the first place. You're pretty even without makeup. Be more confident. See, you can crush Wang Qingchu even with your bare face." "No way, Sister Yu, you are exaggerating." Yu Minmin said, "Oh right. That Qin Wanwan's agent contacted us. They asked if we wanted to do a joint promotion this time." Joint promotion? Lin Che did not quite understand. Yu Minmin explained, "It's like bundle sales. Do some more activities with her. Fans love to see two people working together and such, so it might look better if you do the promotion with her. If you are willing, we'll explore this path together. It's nothing much. It will probably just be the two of you doing interviews together in some programs. Qin Wanwan usually has good reviews and you're short in the socializing aspect, so she can help you with that." Lin Che listened and nodded, "Okay, I don't know about all these. I'll listen to Sister Yu." Yu Minmin smiled. It was decided then. After that, Lin Che then understood what making use of luck meant. Although Lin Che was slow-witted in the show, the internet was already buzzing, saying how Lin Che's adorably slow-witted appearance was stunning. In the scenes, everybody was in the front playing games while she floated around at the back. She even spaced out numerous times, and when everyone teased her, it would take a while for her to realize and snap back into reality. It made the fans laugh so much. Everybody gave Lin Che a nickname. She was called the short attention girl. Lin Che unwittingly became a hot topic online for a while. Lin Che said to Yu Minmin in surprise, "I didn't know this was possible. I thought my performance was so bad and I was done for." Yu Minmin said, "Your performance is not that bad and you are too ditzy. But this is the real you, there's nothing we can do about it." The assistant at the side laughed and said, "Lin Che, Sister Yu is a professional. You must trust her words. She's very capable and skillful. She couldn't be bothered to compete with others. Otherwise, she would have been a top-notch agent. Even so, Sister Yu is still a famous agent in this industry. Everyone knows what Sister Yu is capable of. You are lucky to be able to follow Sister Yu." Chapter 125. Mo Hiling was chased off. Yu Minmin looked speechlessly at the assistant. "Enough, stop talking nonsense." She turned to Lin Che and said, "I have to have some survival skills, but I'm not that capable, to be honest. The assistant said, "Anyway, I knew Sister Yu a long time ago. She's simply a legend. I knew Sister Yu back when she entered this career. I want to be like Sister Yu in the future where everyone who knows me will give me a thumbs up." Alright, if you can really produce a king or queen, then people will think you're good. With me like this, no matter how good I am, I'm only famous in this line. Just keep working hard. Let's all work hard together. This is only the beginning. Lin Che thought that Yu Minmin was a true fighter. From hearing Yu Minmin, she also got fired up. Meanwhile, Mo Hilling was at home watching the TV play Lin Che's news. Lin Che's adorable slow-witted appearance really tugged at people's heartstrings. Recently, Lin Che, who participated in the show with good friend Chen Wanwan, had her room barged in by the crew. She was candid and was really shocked. It was her first time appearing so ugly in front of everyone that she felt that her acting career was over in that instant. Acting, she was obviously acting, Mo Hilling threw the remote angrily. She must be acting this way in front of Gu Jingze so that Gu Jingze, who disliked her from the start, was now treating her well. Just then, someone from outside came in and urged, "Miss, this piece of land has been levied. Master said that if you don't move back, you're done for." I'm not moving. I'm just not moving. Who wants to levy this land? Levy me together as well, she yelled angrily, refusing to leave this place. She wanted to be here to watch Gu Jingze and Lin Che, so she could prevent any relationship from developing between them. Mo Hilling got angrier as she thought about it. She was being chased out this time and it must not be a normal situation. Why was this place suddenly getting levied? And it was blocking an important part of the roadworks. Impossible. It was definitely because of Lin Che's antics. It must be her devious idea to chase her out. Mo Hilling heard the maids outside objecting. She dashed out furiously and headed straight to the Gu residence. The Mo residence maids wanted to go after her but did not do so. They watched Mo Hilling reach the Gu residence's door and get stopped. Mo Hilling yelled furiously, "You guys dare to hold me back? Don't you know who I am? I want to see Jingze, I want to see him. This must be Lin Che's doing as she wants to chase me away." But the security guards at the door continued to block her and refused to let her in. She raised her voice, "Jingze, why can't you see Lin Che for who she really is? She is a sly little slut, a vixen. She hypnotized you and made you break up with me. Why can't you see that you've been fooled?" In the room, the people downstairs had already reported to him the commotion that Mo Hilling was causing. Gu Jingze frowned. He was working in the study room. He stopped and rubbed his brows. "Send her away. I don't want to see her today. Seeing her again would only make her worse." He had been giving her face, but she was getting crazier each time. He had to put his foot down this time so that she would not become more ridiculous and tarnish her own reputation. In this circle, a woman's reputation was still important. With his command, the people outside quickly sent her away. Mo Hilling was indignant, but she was still sent back home. The Mo family did not know what to do with her, so they locked her up for the time being. Mo Hilling exclaimed angrily, "What are you guys doing? Don't you want me to marry into the Gu family? How can I marry Gu Jingze if you do this to me?" Father Mo only shook his head as he looked at Mo Hilling. "The easier it is to obtain, the less interesting it is. You can't chase men like that, don't you know that? So stupid. And you still went over to cause a scene. Reflect on yourself properly before I let you out. You were a nuisance and offended the Gu family. Do you think that the Mo family will still be alive if you continue? I will not let the entire family perish just because of you." Gu residence. The people downstairs soon reported to Gu Jingze on Mo Hilling's situation. Knowing that Mo Hilling had been sent back to the Mo family, Gu Jingze felt relieved. It was just that Lin Che was busy with work recently and had not really paid much attention to him, so he was feeling rather vexed. Just then, he heard Lin Che finally come back. Gu Jingze quickly got up and went out to see Lin Che walk in. She looked at Gu Jingze, who just came out of the room, greeted him, and then wanted to go in. Gu Jingze asked depressingly, "Lin Che, why are you running away? I still want to talk to you." Lin Che heard and came back to him, "What's up?" Gu Jingze also did not know what was up, so he could only force himself to ask, "Are you very busy lately?" Yes. Gu Jingze frowned. We agreed from the start that you would accommodate to my life after marriage. Now, you're only caring about work. It's as if you forgot all about your marriage. Lin Che said suspiciously, why? Is there anything you need Mrs. Gu for? Of course. We're going to have a mid-autumn festival family dinner soon. If you don't prepare, do you expect me to? Huh, family dinner? What dinner? I don't know anything. We're going to Phuket Island. You should prepare. Wow, that's so far. I'm sorry, I really didn't know. I'll be well prepared. Gu Jingze saw that she was full of sincerity, so he then nodded in satisfaction. Seeing Lin Che go in, the caretaker at the side asked Gu Jingze strangely, about that, sir. Is there a mid-autumn family dinner? How come I don't know about it? Gu Jingze turned around and stared deeply at that mouthy caretaker. The caretaker quickly shut up from his icy stare. Gu Jingze picked up his phone and called home. Mom, Mid-Autumn Festival is coming soon. Is there anything planned for the family? Mu Wanqing said, oh, I was afraid that you would be too busy. Your big brother is also busy. Your little brother, I don't know where the heck he goes every day. So I didn't plan anything. Mom, how can this be? A family needs to maintain family relationships. Won't we become more distant? Then what should we do? Sigh, I saw that the weather on Phuket Island was not bad recently. Why don't we take a vacation there? Huh, might as well. Go prepare for it then. Gu Jingze put down the phone and thought about Phuket Island. He thought about the tropical beach and then his mind drifted to Lin Che's figure. She would look so good in a bikini. Chapter 126. I'd like you to wear it for me. Gu Jingze quickly let his staff prepare things for the wife and arrange their trip to Phuket Island. Lin Che told Yu Minmin that she was going on a vacation with the family. Yu Minmin readily agreed and even asked where she was going. Lin Che said, Gu Jingze said it's a mid-autumn festival gathering. We're going to Phuket Island. Yu Minmin spoke over the phone, just look at other people's events. A whole family holding an event at Phuket Island. Lin Che said, it's my first time too. I've never been to Phuket. Yu Minmin replied, okay, go have fun. Take it as a break since you've been working hard recently. Lin Che looked up Phuket Island online and saw that it was extremely beautiful. She got excited as she never expected herself to be going to such places. She then went to prepare. In the room, she was choosing all kinds of swimsuits and clothes, placing them all over the bed. Gu Jingze walked in and saw her. He went up to her suspiciously, are you moving homes? Why are you taking everything out? Lin Che looked up, I'm choosing my clothes. Which one do you think is nice? Gu Jingze asked, you're choosing for the vacation? Yes, quote. Just taking a few pieces will do. You don't have to mull over it. It's my first time to Phuket. My first time. I've never been overseas before, so of course, it's different. Ah, I feel so high and mighty right now. Gu Jingze said quietly, actually, Phuket Island is quite close by, so it's nothing special. There are many other islands that are much nicer. Seeing Get Lin Che so excited, Gu Jingze started to regret making such a rash declaration. If he knew, he would have planned to take her to a better place. Lin Che replied, of course to you, it's not good enough. But to me, it's already really good. Lin Che looked at the display on the bed. In the past, our school had a spring trip to Thailand, but I didn't dare tell my dad. He didn't care and I didn't dare tell my stepmother too. Thus, I think the biggest city I have ever gone to is the S city. Gu Jingze looked at her and thought for a while before saying, if there's a chance next time, I'll take you around. Lin Che looked up, you probably already went around the whole world. Gu Jingze pondered and said, I have indeed been to many places, but I never really explored them. Oh, were they all for work? Yes. Lin Che remarked, that's such a waste too. You're rich so you clearly can travel around the whole world. It looks like your money is not easy to earn. Gu Jingze replied, that is natural. He looked out the window and smiled. Then, he turned back and plainly said, reward and effort are truly equal. I enjoy life a lot, but my responsibilities hold greater importance. I have thousands of employees under me, after all. They are all depending on me for their livelihood. I'm responsible for their lives, their families, and I also have to be responsible for the entire Gu family. Being responsible for a family's ups and downs. Lin Che thought that must be very exhausting. Gu Jingze was actually alone too, but he was carrying so much on his shoulders. Gu Jingze snapped back to reality and looked at the swimsuits on the bed. There were all kinds in bright colors. Gu Jingze's interest was piqued. He took a piece up to look. Lin Che saw him pick up a tiny bikini and blushed. She quickly tried to snatch it back and said, "This is for swimming in the pool." Gu Jingze smiled and snatched it back. "This looks rather nice. Take this." Lin Che said, "I'm not taking it. I'm not wearing that." Gu Jingze asked, "Why not? It looks nice." Lin Che said, "Ah, I'm choosing my clothes, why are you chiming in? Go go go, get out." Lin Che said as she pushed Gu Jingze out. Gu Jingze grabbed her wrist and stopped her from pushing him. He took the bikini again. "Of course I want to choose." He got close to Lin Che's ear and whispered, "You're wearing it for me to see, after all. I want to choose something that I think looks nice." Lin Che's face grew bright red. Although they were the only ones in the room and there was no need to whisper, he intentionally went beside her ear to say those words in that voice. It was like listening to mellow music, it was so pleasant with a hint of warmth. Lin Che quickly pushed Gu Jingze away. "You're so annoying. Who wants to wear something for you to see?" Gu Jingze pulled his face. "Who else are you wearing it for then?" I'm wearing it for myself. Can I not do that? Quote. Gu Jingze laughed, not caring about her response. In the end, he said to her, "That piece looks very nice. It will definitely suit you. Bring it, you hear me?" "I'm not bringing it. I'm not bringing it." Lin Che hurriedly pushed Gu Jingze out. Gu Jingze smiled grimly and had no other choice but to walk out. In the room, Lin Che gradually decided on the clothes she was going to bring and then her eyes fell on that bikini. Her eardrums involuntarily echoed the voice of Gu Jingze. "It will definitely suit you." As if enchanted, Lin Che unwittingly grabbed it and kept looking at it. Did he really think she would look good in this? Her face grew hot thinking about it, but in the end, she decided to take that thing and tossed it into her luggage. The next day, the Gu family already had the airport make arrangements. The whole family arrived at the private VIP lounge room in the airport. When Gu Jingze arrived with Lin Che, Mu Wanqing was already there with the other relatives. She saw them arrive and quickly welcomed them. Their luggage had already been brought in for them. Mu Wanqing came over and tugged Lin Che's hand. She said, "Ah, you're still so slim. Seriously, do you even get any fat?" Lin Che hurriedly said, "It must be my body type. I eat quite a lot." Gu Jingze smiled beside her. "Yes, Mom. She eats more than me, but too bad that it's all for nothing." Lin Che retorted, "Whatever I eat turns into essence. I'm not like you where everything turns into fat. Humph." Gu Jingze replied, "Ha, you think I'm fat now? You said it yourself first." Mu Wanqing saw that the two of them had become much more casual with each other. She could not help but laugh along. The plane was soon ready for boarding. The family lined up and boarded the Gu family's private plane. After a few hours, they arrived at Phuket Island. Below, Phuket Island had arranged for a welcome for the Gu family just like for any other overseas VIP guests. When Lin Che disembarked the plane, she saw an entire welcoming team outside and was shocked. But then again, the Gu family was the #1 biggest family in Sea country. Receiving this kind of treatment was imaginable. Lin Che stood beside Gu Jingze and asked in surprise, "We're not here for some diplomatic meeting. Is there really a need for such grandeur?" Gu Jingze said, "I didn't inform them, but they probably found out anyway. Let's go. No one will follow us once we get to the resort." Chapter 127. You two should quickly have kids. Lin Che was presented fresh flowers and she looked shyly at them. The staff quickly welcomed Gu Jingze. The two of them conversed in a language that Lin Che could not understand at all. Hearing Gu Jingze speak so fluently in a foreign language, she grew admiration for him. Although she could not understand what she heard, she thought that he was very good at it. When everybody was seated in the car headed to the resort, Lin Che then spoke, "What were you guys talking about just now? What language did you speak? You sounded so fluent." Gu Jingze replied, "I was just thanking them for their hospitality and things like that. I spoke French." "Why? You know how to speak French?" "I went to learn when I was in France." "Then do you know English?" "Of course. That's a universal language." "What other languages do you know?" Lin Che asked as she stared at him with bright eyes. Gu Jingze listed out, Italian, Japanese, Russian, and German. "I know a little of all these, but when it comes to business conversations, I still need a professional translator." "Why did you learn so much? How do you have so much time?" Gu Jingze patted her cheeks in amusement. "You wouldn't understand with that IQ of yours. The time you use to think about eating, watching TV and just doing whatever, I use it to learn stuff." Lin Che pouted, "So boring." Gu Jingze said, "Yes, it's boring to people with an IQ like yours. Get lost." Gu Jingze could not help but laugh. Lin Che said, "But with them making it so grand when your family comes here, is it because of the presidential treatment?" Gu Jingze said, "Your knowledge. When Big Brother wasn't president, the Gu family always provided financial support during every presidential election. You can say that the Gu family has some weight in this area. Although we don't explicitly say it, everyone knows internally." "So does that mean that the Gu family has a say in who gets to be president for C country?" "See, you're not that dumb. You still can understand this." "Of course," Lin Che added, "I may look dumb, but I'm actually super smart." Gu Jingze laughed and looked at her, shaking his head helplessly. She was super smart with this IQ. Soon, the car stopped outside the resort. The resort was huge and you could see the blue sea and sky in the distance. The villa was just beside the sea and you could immediately see it once you stepped out. Mu Wanqing looked at the two of them and smiled. She said, "You two can stay at this villa. We'll stay at the one behind. Anyway, we won't disturb you two." Lin Che quickly said, "You're not disturbing us at all. I still want to stay closer to mother." Mu Wanqing replied, "It's okay. Jingze will resent that. Actually, we shouldn't have come this time. Since you two have a break together, you should have gone on a honeymoon. When you two got married, you never went on a honeymoon and never had a proper wedding ceremony. It's all because of this Jingze who is always saying he's busy." Mu Wanqing grunted and glared at Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze looked helplessly at Mu Wanqing. Lin Che noticed and quickly said, "Honeymoons and wedding ceremonies are not big deals anyway. I'm also rather busy anyway." They had agreed that they would not hold a ceremony for their fake marriage in order to avoid trouble. Mu Wanqing looked at the both of them. "Exactly. This may be a family gathering, but you two can be by yourselves. We won't disturb you." "There's really no need." Lin Che glanced at Gu Jingze and then quickly spoke to Mu Wanqing. She wanted Gu Jingze to speak up and tell them that the two of them wanted to move around with the group, not by themselves. However, Gu Jingze stood there without saying a word. He was as still as a log. Mu Wanqing ushered the two of them and said, "Okay, you two can quickly go to your room. Don't bother with us." Mu Wanqing glanced at Gu Jingze as she spoke and then hurriedly left them. Lin Che could not stop Mu Wanqing and could only watch her leave. She looked up at Gu Jingze resentfully and asked, "See? Why didn't you do something?" Gu Jingze plainly said, "Enough. I usually don't hang around people when I'm out. They already know my habits." Lin Che still did not think that it was right, but this is a family gathering after all. It's not good to isolate ourselves. Gu Jingze embraced Lin Che's neck. Gu Jingze was so tall that if Lin Che lowered herself, she would be trapped in his armpit. They looked extremely intimate. Gu Jingze said, "Relax, my mom won't get angry. They want us to be together all the time even more." He leaned closer and said, "So that we can give them a chubby grandchild." "Go to hell," Lin Che jabbed his waist. Gu Jingze burst into laughter. Lin Che continued, "Let go of me. Can you not hug me? Don't move. My mom is behind watching us. Shouldn't a husband and wife be like this? What are you avoiding me for?" Gu Jingze still held on to her and refused to let go. Lin Che only felt that it was hot in his embrace. Also, wasn't this position a little too intimate? However, hearing Gu Jingze say that, she lowered her eyes and stopped moving. She could only be hugged by Gu Jingze as they entered the villa together. In the afternoon, the weather was good. The sea and sky were blue. The sun was strong and tourists were in the distance playing on the beach, but not a single person was near them. Because of the Gu family's arrival, they had sectioned off a part of the beach to prevent anyone from getting close. On the beach, Mu Wanqing saw that Gu Jingze was alone. She grabbed him and asked, "How are you and Lin Che getting along now?" Gu Jingze knew she would ask him such things, rather well. "Then why aren't you taking the chance to have a kid?" Gu Jingze replied, "Mother, you can't simply have a baby whenever you want. We will slowly work hard towards it." Mu Wanqing said, "Why not? Are you two really working hard at it? You're not bluffing me, right?" Gu Jingze looked ahead, "Of course we're trying. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, then I can't help you. I can't possibly arrange for you to view our efforts, right? You silly boy, always going against me. I don't believe what you said, but it's only right if you two want to have a child. When it comes to your generation in this family, none of you want to try. Just look at your father and I. When we were your age, we would have been putting a lot more effort already. But none of you three brothers have this desire." Sigh. Gu Jingze sighed, Fine, Mom. Don't nag anymore, please. I'll go back and work hard for 3 days and 3 nights consecutively, alright?" Mu Wanqing replied, "That's more like it." Just then, he heard people exclaiming from behind. Gu Jingze turned around to look and saw Lin Che come out wearing her swimsuit. Her delicate skin was wrapped in an olive bikini and the thin straps tied around her body. Her belly was flat and her chest was upright. She looked so charming and seductive, but also refreshing and adorable. It was the exact bikini he picked that day. Chapter 128. I got a sickness that only you can cure. Gu Jingze was amazed. He just knew that she would look great with her figure in that bikini. It was no surprise that she really looked as pretty as a mermaid. That flawless body would make anyone's eyes light up. However, at this time, sighs of exclamation from the tourists at the side drifted over. "Wow, who is that? Her figure is great. There's no point in looking, she belongs to someone else. Just stare a while more and you won't be able to soon." Gu Jingze's eyes followed and his pupils darkened. He walked over to Lin Che's side. Lin Che did not want to wear this originally, but seeing so many beauties out on the beach and thinking about Gu Jingze's anticipating eyes, she decided to wear something that Gu Jingze thought looked nice. The moment she stepped out, she saw Gu Jingze in just his swimming trunks. Those strong muscles glowed under the sun, looking healthy and sexy. His figure was beyond great and made everybody turn their heads as he walked past them. However, Gu Jingze took a few steps toward Lin Che, grabbed her, and ushered her back towards the villa. Lin Che was stunned as she asked, "Why are you pulling me? I wanted to play in the water." Gu Jingze turned to look at her. He didn't expect her to look so inviting. If he knew, he would have made her wear something more conservative and cover those succulent body parts. Gu Jingze could not help but look down at her. Her figure was perfect. That chest especially was so beautifully rounded. She looked so much better with the thin fabric hugging her curves compared to her usual clothes that normally covered her assets. Gu Jingze looked around and then said, "Let's go. I'll take you to a special place." Not letting her change out, he took her towards another direction. Soon, they reached a spot where there was nobody else. Gu Jingze looked around. This place was extremely quiet. Satisfied, he let go of Lin Che's hand and heard her ask in puzzlement, "Why are we here? I haven't said hi to your mom." Gu Jingze pointed outwards, "Isn't it nice here? There are too many people on the other side. That ruins the scenery, right?" Lin Che thought that it made sense. She happily walked towards the water. "Big C, I'm coming for you." Watching Lin Che run exaggeratedly, Gu Jingze could not help but laugh. Lin Che stood in the water and let the cold waves wash her legs. It was so comforting. Step by step, she walked further in. As she saw that the water was rather shallow, she continued further. Gu Jingze stood at the side and watched her play in the water like a kid. He thought this brat was so old-fashioned. She had never been anywhere and seen too little of the world. She was even behaving like a kid coming to the beach, so easily happy. Just then, a wave crashed onto Lin Che and she accidentally fell into the water. Splashing around, Lin Che could not help but shout. Lin Che was bobbing in the water. Little did she know that the seawater was not easy to swim in. Wave after wave crashed over her, sucking away her energy. She became a little worried. Behind, Gu Jingze firmly grabbed Lin Che's waist, but his hand had accidentally grabbed onto her chest. Lin Che froze and looked down, seeing his hand placed on her chest. She lost her balance and almost fell over again. This time, Gu Jingze used so much force that the thin fabric on her chest fell off. The tender flesh inside became wet from the seawater, making it glisten. Gu Jingze felt it all in his palm. His throat became itchy and his lips twitched. For a moment, he forgot how to move. Lin Che exclaimed in surprise and then felt something hard prodding her waist. As Gu Jingze was hugging her from behind, their position must have been extremely awkward. Lin Che was so shocked that she dared not to move. Gu Jingze, you. Gu Jingze gritted his teeth and growled, "Shut up." Lin Che held her tongue and felt him hug her as he brought her back to shore. When Lin Che was released, she quickly put her top back on. Her body was already all wet. She turned back to see Gu Jingze was staring at her with his dark expression. He stood there looking extremely unhappy. Lin Che's eyes involuntarily shifted down to that certain part of his. He was only wearing a pair of swimming trunks, so it was very obvious. Lin Che covered her mouth and said in shock, your thing, your. Gu Jingze turned to her and stared sharply at her, "It's all your fault." Lin Che quickly asked, "What do we do now?" Gu Jingze was embarrassed as he looked at Lin Che absurdly. But, damn it, his body was moving uncontrollably. In a moment of fury, he looked at the water surface and jumped into the sea. Lin Che was shocked, but looking at him in the sea, he looked so handsome as he swam freestyle beautifully. He was so beautiful like a fish. She paused and thought, how could he be as stupid as her to not know how to swim? Of course, he would know how to swim. After a while, Gu Jingze grew tired of swimming and returned to the shore. His drenched body was extremely sexy. He wiped his face and looked at Lin Che, who was covering her mouth and looking excited. There was fiery admiration in her eyes as she scanned his whole body. Like a lens that could see through him, it was as if she wanted to see every inch of his body. Oh no. He could clearly feel that his body, which was just feeling better, started to rise up again. This damned woman. Lin Che saw him give a look of hate and asked unwittingly, "What's wrong?" Gu Jingze sighed and asked resentfully, "Who said you could look at me?" Lin Che was speechless, "I can't even look at you." Gu Jingze glanced at her again. Then, he shook the water off his body and walked over. When he walked over, Lin Che realized there was something different about him. That place. Lin Che hurriedly said, "You. Don't tell me you're sick. Why is that place?" Gu Jingze turned to her, "That's right. I'm sick." "Ah, what do we do?" Gu Jingze's eyes moved as he gestured to her, "Come over." Lin Che quickly ran to him. Gu Jingze saw her silly and innocent appearance and could not bear to poke fun of her for a moment. But his body was intolerably hot, as if all his focus was gathered in that one particular area, making him uncomfortably stuffy. I'm sick with something that only you can cure." "What?" Lin Che went over and Gu Jingze immediately held her hand. Lin Che wailed, "What exactly are you trying to do?" Gu Jingze said, "Please help me or else I'll die here today because of you." What? Chapter 129, I Have a Dream. Lin Che still had no clue what he meant, but he had already grabbed her hand. After a while, he finally did it. Relaxed, he laid on the sand and faced the sun. Lin Che quickly took her hand back and exclaimed in anger, why you? What do I do now?" However, Gu Jingze was still deep in his own world, oblivious to anything else. Lin Che could only run to the water and start washing herself vigorously. Gu Jingze was in such a great mood that he laughed again in his deep voice. Sitting there, he could not help but want to relive what just happened. Her helping compared to doing it himself were two entirely different feelings. He could even remember her petite and soft hand. When he thought about it, he felt relaxed. Seeing that Lin Che was still washing herself, Gu Jingze got up and walked over to her. He swept her up in his arms. Lin Che yelped and felt Gu Jingze carry her, spinning around on the beach. Her skin rubbed against his and she blushed. Feeling the sea breeze, it was extremely comforting. Lin Che exclaimed, "Let me go." "What are you doing? Doesn't it feel nice?" "Yes, it feels nice." Lin Che hugged his neck and said. Gu Jingze carried Lin Che. "I know this must have been hard to do just now. I didn't mean for it to take so long. I've already tried my best to make it a fast one." "Get lost. Who said you could talk?" Lin Che angrily hit his shoulder. Gu Jingze laughed heartily. He was in a great mood. Lin Che could not help but think, did it really feel that good? Why was he so happy? Men, seriously, no matter how smart a man was, his lower half could still have a mind of its own sometimes. Gu Jingze carried her and spun another round. "Okay. To reward you, I can promise you one thing." Lin Che asked, "What thing?" "You tell me. It can be anything." Lin Che thought about it, but did not know what to say. Except for what just happened, her mind was completely blank. "Well, I can't think of anything right now. Can I tell you again when I think of something?" Gu Jingze said magnanimously, "Okay, I promise you." Gu Jingze put Lin Che down and the two of them walked together on the beach. Enjoying the breeze and taking in the atmosphere of a different country, Lin Che said, "It's really nice here. I'll take you to an even better place next time." "No need. I already like this place very much," Lin Che replied. "You're so easily satisfied," Gu Jingze remarked as he looked at her. "Of course," Lin Che said. "Not everybody can have everything they want, so people like us who may not fulfill their dreams are easily satisfied. This is how we can be happy." Gu Jingze looked at her and said seriously, "What do you want? I can help you with anything." Lin Che listened and quickly said, "There's no need. You really don't have to." "I'm serious," Gu Jingze insisted. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingze. She only wanted something simple, but it was also difficult to obtain. She wanted someone to love and for someone to love her. However, there were people in this world who would never fulfill that dream in their entire lives. Lin Che shook her head and said, "There's really no need. Some dreams are only meaningful if you work hard to achieve it yourself. If you get it so easily, there won't be any meaning to it anymore." Gu Jingze looked at her and thought that what she said made sense too. Chapter 130. Our whole family hates that Mo person. "I never thought that you could talk with so much sense sometimes." Gu Jingze reached over and touched her head. "Of course, idiot. I told you that I am actually really intelligent and just appear stupid." "Ha, I see, stupid, often but intelligent." Gu Jingze chuckled and looked at her. "Get lost. I'm not caring about you anymore. Humph, you're starting to tear me down after using me." Thinking about how she was used, she wanted to die of embarrassment. It was the first time she did something like that for a man. It was the first time she touched a man's most important body part. She felt depressed. What right did he have to ask her to pay for his happiness? In the end, she didn't get anything in return. She served him for nothing. However, she thought about how Gu Jingze looked so relaxed at the end and felt that she did the right thing at that time. His happiness made her feel that it was somewhat meaningful no matter what. Lin Che went to soak in the water again. Gu Jingze said, "You don't know how to swim, so don't go in yet. We can go back to the pool at the resort so that you can learn how to swim first and then come back here to swim." Lin Che was impatient, but Gu Jingze quickly pulled her back. At night, they rested in the villa. Lin Che was exhausted from the day, so she slept early. When she woke up the next morning, she discovered that Gu Jingze was already gone. Lin Che walked out and looked outside. Mu Wanqing was viewing the flowers, dressed in relaxed clothing. She looked different from the usual elegant Mrs. Gu. Good morning, Mother, Lin Che called out cheerfully to Mu Wanqing and quickly walked over. Mu Wanqing was also happy to see Lin Che. Lin Che, you're up early. Yes, I slept a bit early last night, Lin Che smiled and said. Mu Wanqing took a stroll with Lin Che and spoke as they walked. Jingze went to settle some work early in the morning. That child is always so busy, he doesn't really have his own life. I was really happy that he took the initiative to organize the family gathering this time and let everybody have a good time out together. He always never liked family gatherings and neither did he like getting close to anybody. Looking at you and him together, he has really changed a lot. Lin Che looked at Mu Wanqing in a puzzled manner. He initiated this family gathering. Of course, he called me and asked what we had planned this mid-autumn festival. I told him I didn't have any plans, so he then suggested, why not go have fun at Phuket? Lin Che thought strangely. When Gu Jingze told her about it, it was as if it was all arranged by the family and she had to come. Lin Che said, so it was he who did it. Seriously. This Gu Jingze was seriously becoming harder and harder to understand. Mu Wanqing smiled and said, anyway, this is all thanks to you. If he was never with you, he wouldn't have changed this much. Lin Che smiled bashfully. Yes, when he was with her, he had to put on an act. He had to pretend to be a filial son and a responsible husband daily. Of course, there was change. Mu Wanqing said, I knew it long ago. Letting you two be together was the best thing. Lin Che looked at Mu Wanqing. Actually, Gu Jingze's relationship with Miss Mo was not bad either, right? When Mu Wanqing heard Miss Mo's name, she quickly said to Lin Che, did Jingze tell you about Mo Hilling? That boy, why would he tell you that? We have never liked that Mo Hilling. She's too pampered and she's always so scheming. On the other hand, this silly fool Jingze is always too busy working. He has never interacted with ladies, so he never knew that women are the most complicated creatures on earth. They are much more complicated than whatever business conversations he has. It's also our fault that we put such a big responsibility of the Gu family on Jingze himself. That's why he missed out on all the joys in life. He doesn't even know many women. Lin Che said strangely, is it? Mother, I still thought a family like the Gu family would want to be associated with others of equal social status. Mu Wanqing smiled, it's acceptable to be of equal status, but if that's not possible, we won't force it. Also, there are both good and bad points to that. Many girls want to marry into the Gu family, but I can immediately tell that they are only after our power and money. Joining these families in marriage would be good for us, but ultimately, he is my son. I can't simply throw my own child into the fire pit. Mu Wanqing patted Lin Che's shoulder. When I saw you for the first time, I just knew you were different. You're much stronger than that Mo Hilling. She is one person in front of Jingze, but behind him, she's another person. She thinks that I can't tell. I've seen all kinds of women in my life and she thinks that I don't know what she's thinking of. Mu Wanqing continued with hatred. In the past, that Mo Hilling would act all prissy at home. She would put on airs toward the maids and nitpick on everything. If this kind of woman entered the Gu family, that would have been a disaster. The more she looked at Lin Che, the gentler she got, but you're completely different. You're transparent, pure, and you know how to talk. Aside from myself, even the maids, the caretaker and everybody else especially like you. Mother, you're too kind. My head is going to float. Mu Wanqing said, I'm telling you the truth. We all hate Mo Hilling, so you must get along well with Jingze and quickly produce a baby. Quote. Lin Che thought, so what if everybody hated Mo Hilling? As long as Gu Jingze liked her, nobody could do anything, right? Love was about two people. It had nothing to do with anyone else. The second day was the Mid-Autumn Festival. The old master of the Gu family also came. The old master saw that everyone was present and was very happy. He distributed red packets to everyone. Lin Che looked inside the red packet when she got back and almost jumped in glee. Oh my, your old master is really something. He's giving a house without saying a word. You should organize more of these gatherings in the future. Look at your money-minded behavior. You now have C country's most valuable husband. What's so good about a house? With your eyesight, if I put you into business, you'll definitely be cheated of your life. Lin Che raised her head and glared at him, all gladly. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingze and recalled Mu Wanqing's words. She said, but mother said that it was you who arranged this gathering. Gu Jingze, didn't you say it was a family gathering? Why would you arrange the family gathering out of the blue? Gu Jingze froze with the teacup in his hand. He turned around and stared at Lin Che. He then put down the cup and said, for family harmony. This is what the top man of the Gu household should do. Why? Lin Che thought there was nothing wrong with his explanation but still felt that something was not quite right. But mother said you never took up this kind of responsibility. She also said that you hate family gatherings, Lin Che said. Gu Jingze's eyes moved as he looked at Lin Che. You think everybody is like you and grows physically but not mentally. People become gradually more mature. I've matured too. I understand the importance of family now. Is there anything wrong with that? Seeing Lin Che about to open her mouth, Gu Jingze embraced her neck and looked down at her, stopping her from talking. However, his hand unwittingly touched her face too. Looking at her face, he thought about her expression when she helped relieve him. His body suddenly started to miss that feeling.